Hi everybody. Hey, what's up y'all? Y'all see who I have here? I have Viola here. Say hello. Hello everybody. Y'all see? Let me get her fixed up here. See everybody? Say hello everybody. This is Viola Angela Roper, and today Viola is 13 days old today. She likes to grunt and make lots of interesting noises. So today I am going to do my labor and delivery experience, and it was an experience, but I just wanted to do it, you know, so you guys can see her. And I've been MIA for a while, and I know y'all been wanting to see what she looks like. I know y'all already saw, but that's when, you know, she first, you know, she had jaundice and all kind of other stuff going on. But I wanted to let y'all, you know, do a video to tell you about my entire experience from start to finish. A lot of it I kind of got from my discharge papers because I didn't know what was going on. So let's start off with her birth. Viola was born July 27 at 4:20 p.m. and I was 36 weeks and 3 days pregnant. Now the day before that, Saturday, let me tell y'all, I was taking a nice little sponge bath, just washing, you know, up and stuff, because I don't like to get in the tub when my husband's not home, in the event that I slip and fall or something happened and I can't, you know, recover, because my husband was at work and I was home by myself. So I said, well, let me just go on ahead and do like a quick little wash up or whatever. So as I was washing up and washing my legs and stuff, my leg was up because I had it propped up on the tub. All this water just came gushing out of me, and I was just like, am I peeing on myself? And so I was just like, so I kept, like, I was touching the fluid and I was smelling it, and it just smelled like pee. I was like, oh my God. So I was just like, okay, I really hope my water didn't break. So I'm walking in the room to try to find my cell phone, and the water just kept coming. So she grins in her sleep, so y'all may see her smile a little bit, because she like to grin in her sleep. So the water just kept coming. I was going in the bedroom, going in Viola's room, just walking around looking for my cell phone. The water just kept coming. I said, this cannot be pee, because pee stops at a certain point. This water was not stopping. It was just coming out, and as I was walking, the more it just flowed out. So I was just like, oh my goodness, my water broke. Go figure. So I get on the phone, call my mom, no answer. Call my dad, no answer. I was just like, what the hell is wrong with these people? Don't they know, like, to be on call? So anyway, I called my brother, who never answers his phone, and today God just made him answer his phone. And I was like, can you get in touch with our parents and let them know my water broke? My dad, you know, our dad, to let him know that my water broke and he needs to come and get me and take me to the hospital. And so he was like, oh my God, okay. So then I get a phone, so I called my friend, one of my good friends, and I told her what happened, and she was like, I'll be there, Shantika, I'll be there. And so she was getting ready for church, because, you know, I grew up Seventh-day Adventist, and so most of my friends are still Seventh-day Adventists, so they go to church on Saturday. So she was just like, oh, I'll be there. So my dad called me and was just like, what's going on? I said, my water broke. I need, all right, I'll be there. My dad was like, of course, in hysterics. So he was on his way. So I was just like, okay, what do I need to do right now? My bag was packed, but I had certain things that I was still using, like my toothbrush, toothpaste, floss, and of course, you know, I needed to get my camera stuff. And so I didn't even get dressed, honey. Water was just flowing out of me like the Ten Commandments, honey. And I was just running around putting stuff in Ziploc bags, putting my toothpaste, getting my camera, because, you know, of course, you don't want to leave your camera ever, you know. This is something that you just do not want to miss, because you can't get it back once you know. So I got everything packed away, and I called my neighbor, my next door neighbor, and she came right over, because I didn't know how long it was going to take them to get there, you know. So I didn't know what to do, because the water just kept coming, and every time when I was putting on my clothes, I was soaking wet, like it would not stop. And so my neighbor was like, "We gotta go, don't worry about it." I said, "But I look like I peed on myself." I look like I peed on myself. She's like, "Don't worry about it, your water broke. The water just gonna keep coming, so you might as well just get over that." So as I was getting my clothes, my friend and my dad showed up at the same time. So I put on my clothes and got my bags and everything, and we were off to the hospital. And the hospital literally is like 5 minutes away from where we live. And so we got to the hospital, and my dad wheeled me into the emergency room, and the lady was like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And I was like, "My water broke." And so the week before, I had pre-registered at the hospital, you know, so that I wouldn't have to wait long. So of course I had to wait for transport, and while I was sitting in the wheelchair, I was just like soaking wet, so embarrassed. People were just staring at me with my wet self. So transport finally took me up to triage, where you know, I got on the bed and they checked me, and the first thing the nurse said, she was like, "This is not pee," because I smelled the amniotic fluid. I didn't know amniotic fluid has smell, but apparently it does. So she was just like, "I know it's not urine. I can smell the amniotic fluid." And so she called my doctor, who was at the hospital already doing a C-section. I call him the C-section king, honey, because that's all he do is C-sections. And so he was already at the hospital. He, you know, let them know to, you know, verify if her bag of water had ruptured, and it had. And so they went on ahead and they admitted me. And so I sat in triage for probably like maybe an hour, 45 minutes before transport took me to the delivery room where I was staying, where you guys saw the video where we were at. So once I got to the delivery area, you know, they hooked me up, and my water, by the time I got situated and everything, my water had been broken for quite some time. And so the nurse was like, "Well, we're going to go on ahead and start your labor. And so we're going to give you," they said, it's Pitocin, honey. They call it oxytocin, but it's Pitocin. Let me tell you something about this damn Pitocin, honey. Pitocin is the devil himself. Do you hear me what I say? That's what do you hear me what I say? Pitocin is the devil himself, honey, because as soon as they put that Pitocin in, I promise you, like 20-30 minutes later, them contractions hit me like a brick. And the only thing, it's really, really horrible period cramps that get stronger and stronger. You are in so much pain, you become delirious. And I labored hard, honey, because my contractions were coming every 2 minutes. And at first, I felt like I could handle it, because I have a high threshold for pain, because I have really, really bad cramps. And so I was handling it, you know, I was doing my moaning, and I was handling it. But it just got to the point, because, you know, it was like a gradual effect, because on the monitor you could see when the contractions is getting ready to come. You get a 2-minute break where you can kind of catch your breath, and then stuff starts to build up, and then, you know, you just in full contraction mode. Man, let me tell you. And I have back labor, people. I have back labor. And so I was instructing my husband to rub my lower back to give me some kind of relief. And so he was rubbing my back, and he kept like shaking his hand, like his hand was hurting. And it's like with every contraction, it was getting stronger and stronger, and I was getting more pissed off than ever, because he was just like half-ass rubbing my back, and I was just yelling at him like, "Listen, you're not rubbing my back, you rubbing it half-ass. Listen, if you're not gonna do it right, get out." I fussed him out, and it was so funny, because my mom and his mom were in there, and they was just like, "Vern, let us know when you need to duck, because she gonna knock your ass out if you don't do it right." So I was in so much pain. And of course, I'm a victim of Google and YouTube and listening to people and their experiences, and then I'm scared to get a damn epidural because I listen to a bunch of folks that say epidural slows down your labor, then you end up with a C-section, and that has happened in a lot of cases, but everybody's case is different. And so my nurse came in and she felt so sorry for me. Like, I labored like that for 2 hours straight in excruciating just pain. I was literally outside of my mind. That's how much pain I was in. And she grabbed my shoulder. She was just like, Mrs. Roper, you have suffered enough. Please get the epidural. And I was out of my mind, so I was just like, okay, just give it to me. Now let me tell you about this epidural, honey. Now, they said for some people it does not hurt when they put it in, but I had Senior Jack of all dummies doing, I ain't want to cuss in front of the baby. So I had this fool giving me an epidural. He was so rude. He was so rude, y'all. First of all, when you get an epidural, they make you sit on the edge of the bed, lean over the nurse or whatever. They kicked everybody out the room, and I'm having contractions still. So you're expecting me to sit completely still while I'm having these excruciating contractions. Then he was getting frustrated with me because I wasn't being still enough, and he was just whining, talking about, oh, I can't work like this, you have to keep stopping. So I'm having a contraction, and I just broke down, and I was crying. I was like, this is my first time. This is my first time. I'm in a lot of pain. You need to be a little bit more, understanding. And I was just like, and then when he put that thing in my back, it was like a pop, and I just screamed. I was just like screaming because it hurt, and then my left leg popped and went numb, and so it hurt like hell when they put it in. And I was so mad at him. I was just like fussing, but I was crying. I was just like, you have to be a little bit more patient. You don't get it because you're a man, but I'm in a lot of pain, and you're expecting me to be completely still, and it's hard for me to do that. This is my first baby. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm scared as hell. I've never been through no situation. You kicked all my family and everybody out the room, so I'm in here with 2 complete strangers trying to deal with this by myself. So anyway, so finally when the epidural, he put the epidural in, it was like maybe 20 minutes, and I went completely, utterly numb. Let me tell y'all something about this epidural, honey. I wish somebody, I would be a straight up drug addict. I'm telling you, the epidural, I love the epidural, man. I was literally floating on cloud 8, 9, and 10. That epidural, I loved it, man. It numbed me beautifully. I was instantaneous, and I just went to sleep. I went to sleep. And for the past few weeks, I hadn't been sleeping because I was so uncomfortable. She was so big inside, and I hadn't slept in so long. And so when I got that epidural, I just passed out. So the nurse came every couple of hours to check me. My cervix had not changed. I was not dilating, and I was scared because I did not want to have a C-section. Now, I would do whatever I had to do, but I really did not want to have a C-section. So, since it's my first baby, and first babies take a while to come, I didn't want anybody to rush me into to doing something that I was not comfortable with. And so I discussed it with my mother, and she was like, well, you need to talk to him. And so when my doctor finally came in, I was just like, listen, Dr. S, can you please let me labor for as long as I possibly can, And he was like, oh, sure, no problem. And he was saying that because he had like 6 other patients running all over creation that he had to do C-sections for, so he wasn't paying my behind no mind anyway. He was like, no problem. We'll just keep checking you, and I have a couple more patients. I have to go to this hospital down the street, do a couple of C-sections, and I have a couple patients here already, including you, so go ahead, take your time. And I was like, okay, cool. So then when the nurse checked me, he realized I had had some laser surgery like 12 years ago, and there was some scar tissue left on my cervix. And so he wanted to do a procedure to cut away that scar tissue to see if that would, you know, open me up. So when he did that and he cut a little piece of scar tissue, I had progressed to 8 centimeters just that quick, because it wasn't as much scar tissue as he you know, originally thought when he got in there. And so when he cut that part, he left, came, and the nurse checked me. I was 8 centimeters just that quick. And so then he was like, okay, well, I'll be around. We're gonna give it like a couple of hours, you know, you're 8 centimeters or whatever, so just call me. 30 minutes later, the nurse checked me, and I was complete. I was 10 centimeters dilated, and it was such a shock because I had been in the bed since like 10 o'clock, you know, Saturday, and this was like in the afternoon, like 3 something in the afternoon, and I was just chilling. And when the lady, you know, chilling on my epidural, honey, sleeping, my mom gave me a nice sponge bath. I was getting visitors. I felt so special, y'all. I had visitors from all over town coming to see about me. We talked, we laughed, we had a good time. You know, I was just chilling on my epidural, man. I can't say, oh, I can't read about the epidural enough, honey. And so, yeah, so I was just enjoying myself, honey. You know, it was sucked because I couldn't eat. All I could have was ice chips. And my parents and my husband, they decided to bring Denny's in the room and eat it in front of me. And I was like, can I have my ice chips? And so I just ate my ice chips pretending it was some pancakes. They so wrong for eating pancakes in front of my face. So anywho, so 30 minutes later, the doctor came in, checked me, and was like, let's have a baby. And I was just like, what? Who, what, when, and where? What? Already? I was just like shocked because I had been just laying around for a day and a half, and, you know, it was like time to push. Man, I think the worst part about the only bad part, it was not bad, but the only difficult part was that I was still nauseated, and I was, the epidural just numbed me. And I had to turn every so often. The nurse had to turn me so I wouldn't get bed sores, or, you know, because my mom, you know, she was on top of that, you know. So, and every time they would turn me, I would vomit. So, you know, when they was getting ready to prop me up so I could start pushing, they laid me flat on my back, and I was like, oh God, I can't be flat on my back because I'm going to vomit. Man, and then my legs were like, everything was down below was like dead to the world. And so it took like 2 nurses to prop both legs way up in the sky and in the stirrups or whatever, because I was like dead weight. And then I was laid flat back, which I hated. So then while I was in the stirrups, they was just like, okay, we're going to push. And so I started like taking a deep breath and push, and I was like, he just vomited. I was trying to push and I was throwing up at the same time. It was horrible. And I didn't have anything to throw up because I had eaten in 2 days. Like, so I'm pushing and dry heaving, pushing and dry heaving. Oh man. And so I was half pushing, and I ain't gonna lie, I was half pushing. And so because I was just so weak and I couldn't feel jack. And so the doctor decided, well, he was just like, oh, I see hair. And so her head is small, but he could get the head out, but he couldn't get her shoulders out. So I got a nice little episiotomy. He cut me, and they had to do the vacuum extraction. They put a little vacuum on her head, and when I pushed, she popped right out, y'all. I'm telling you, that was like the biggest relief of life. Like, I was literally all Viola, because when she came out, I mean, she came out, and it did feel like I was having a bowel movement. That's exactly what it felt like I was going to the toilet. And so when she came out, I felt like, I can breathe. I was just like, ooh, I felt instantaneous relief when they took her out, man. And they put her on me. I was just like, I was scared to touch her because I'm like, dude, she's been inside my belly for so long. I was scared to touch her, you know. And so I was like, oh my God, she mine. It was like, she's yours. And so and I looked in her face and everything. She wasn't crying. Homegirl came out with her eyeballs wide open, looking in my face. Yes, ma'am. So I was looking in my mommy's face. She sucks her tongue. My mother and my brother both suck their tongue. They both have lisp. If you know what a lisp is, people who speak with their tongue in the way. So she's inherited that from my brother and my mom. So anyway, so the nurses, you know, because before they delivered her, I had a conversation with the neonatologist because I was 36 weeks and 3 days. So they talked to me and let me know that, you know, what they're going to be doing as far as her care once she was delivered. And they explained everything to me in great detail, made sure I understood everything. And when they took her off my chest, they put her on the bed, she started crying and then she stopped. And then, according to the nurses, she started bringing up the fluid that was in her throat, and she was going into respiratory distress. So, of course, they cleared her lungs out. You know, she recovered really, really quickly. They lifted her up so we could take a whole ton of pictures. And then they were like, we're going to go ahead and take her to the NICU because she has a lot of, you know, fluid. Now, one thing that I thought was really strange, when she was born, she had stool, a big old piece of stool in her butt, and I thought that was strange because you only see stuff like that with postpartum babies that are like 41, 42 weeks, and I was like, dang, man, I'm glad I had her, because that's another thing you don't want to happen, is your baby to stool in the womb and they breathe that in. That's another thing that you don't want that to happen. So I was kind of glad that she came as early as she did. So they took her away to the NICU. You know, my doctor stitched me up. I swear it was like, I didn't feel jack, but the way he was sewing me up, it was like he was down there knitting a sweater. I mean, all you saw was this. And he had like a hook type thing, and he was just sewing. I was like, oh my God, my vagina would never be the same again. And he was still sewing and sewing, and I was just laying there like, I can't believe I just had a baby. So after that, of course, they delivered the placenta, and the lady put on this big old diaper thing with the big pad, and I was cool with the pad and everything because I was bleeding profusely. Oh, who did it? Who did it? Hush that fuss. You want your passy? Say, no, mommy, I don't want that. Don't you cry. Don't you cry. Don't you cry. You see how little she is, y'all? What a little stuff. So at birth, homegirl was 6 pounds 10 ounces, just big. And everybody's like, wow, almost 7 pounds. My cat's out there acting like something wrong with them because they can't come in. So yeah, she was 6 pounds 10 ounces. Okay, boo. Okay. So yeah, sewed me up. I was bleeding like bleeding was going out of style. So anyway, the nurse really took care of me and everything, and I laid in the bed for a little bit. And once they were done with everything, I think I was there for a while, and when I was getting ready to go up to my room, man, they turned off that epidural. I was in a lot of pain, y'all. A lot of pain. And I think what really helped was the ice. She had like a big bag of ice, and she put it on the big pad. Like, let me tell y'all something. For those who keep complaining about the pads and stuff, and I watch a lot of vlogs and stuff, and they complain about them big pads. Y'all need to stop complaining about them pads. Who the hell wants to wear a panty liner after they give birth? You are bleeding like you've never bled before. You just had a baby. You need to wear those diapers. I'm telling you, because they're like, I mean, who cares about being sexy? You just popped out a baby. Sexy went out the window so long ago, and there was no way I could put on a regular pad without bleeding all over the damn place. So those diaper pads were like, they were comfortable as hell. They were able to put ice in there, and the ice did wonders. Like, it was very, very soothing. I really liked the ice. That's why y'all see me, even though I was limping, I was walking around, you know, kind of okay, you know, because I had my ice, I had my Percocet. Yes, ma'am, I had my Percocet, and I had my ice, and but it was still painful. I'm still recovering, you know, I'm still hurting, and I'll, you know, go into deep, because this video is going to be super long. So tomorrow I'll record our 2-week, my 2-week postpartum update, my update and hers as well. But yeah, they took me to the room, and, you know, I thought that I was going to have a private room, because that's what the tour said, but apparently not. So when I got in the room, got situated, you know, maybe an hour later, they wheeled in my roommate. Now, we had our curtains drawn, and so the lady didn't know that there was another patient in the same room as her when they brought her in. And so she had just had a cesarean section, so she was confined to the hospital bed. So I get up and I was limping my way to the restroom to change the pad or whatever, to get, you know, cleaned up or whatever. That lady took one look at my face, honey, and called for the charge nurse, and was just going off. This is my roommate, going off talking about, oh, she thought that she was going to have a private room, and that it's not right, that she should get preferential treatment because she had a C-section, and she shouldn't have to share her room with anybody. And I was like, first of all, what does Shantika have to do with what your problem is? Like, don't put me in that. First of all, you don't even know me. Number two, you mad because I don't know why you mad, but it is what it is. Like, that day was like overrun with people having kids. Like, I'm pretty sure if it wasn't so busy, we would have had private rooms. But Sunday, like, they had a ridiculous amount of births that day. The floor was completely packed, jam-packed. The floor was completely jam-packed. And you know what was so interesting about that? I was the only patient on the floor that had a vaginal birth. Every other woman on my floor had a C-section. And I was just thanking God, like, over and over again, because I did not want a C-section. So anyway, the charge nurse came in and was telling her that they were really busy. They didn't have any private rooms available for her, and so she, you know, she left. The charge nurse left. So of course, Vern and I get comfortable. Vern pulls out the little couch bed and he gets ready to go to sleep. My husband snores. Okay. He falls asleep and he starts snoring. OMG. Why this lady husband starts going off? Oh no, oh hell no. Now we're not going to be standing in this room listening to that guy back there snore loud. It's uncomfortable. And what did he say? He was like starting to mimic my husband, like, oh, I don't want to hear all that all night. And he was just going off. Let me tell you something. I was in so much damn pain, but I didn't give a damn, because what you ain't fins to do, what you're not going to do, is talk about my husband. Talk about us, period, because you don't even know us. Like, your problem, you not getting a private room, has nothing to do with the ropers over yonder here. Don't have nothing to do with us. That's the hospital issue. Let it stay with the hospital. Don't bring me in it, because I'm in pain. You would get your feelings hurt messing around with me, honey. So when he started talking about my husband and started mocking my husband, I got the hell, and I didn't wake my husband, you know, purposely, because I don't want my husband to go to jail for knocking somebody upside their head. So I rolled out of the bed, because that's all I could do. I rolled out of the bed and I limped, and I was just like, what? And I was just talking nonsense while I was walking past them. Like, you having a roommate is not my problem. But you're not gonna sit up here and act like a fool and think that I'm gonna sit in my bed and be sugar sweet as pie and let you talk about me like a damn dog. Like I'm the reason why you gotta have a roommate. So So I went and I found the charge nurse, and I was like, you need to talk to that woman and her husband, because now whatever issue that she has with her having a roommate or with you all, she's starting to put it on my husband and I. And what I will not do is allow somebody to make, you know, I'm already in pain. I want to relax. I just had a baby just like she did, and I want to relax and enjoy the rest of my evening. I don't want to hear nobody and complain about something that nobody has control over. And so the nurse was like, she was like very apologetic, and she was just like, we're going to get her out of your room. And I was like, praise the Lord. So as I was walking back, they were wheeling her little cantankerous behind right out of my room, and guess what? Shantika Roper ended up having a private room by default. So boom, that's what happens when you do stuff. You try to do the right thing, you know. So I ended up having a private room, because when they took her out, nobody else came in there for my entire stay. And so when they took her out of there, you know, me and my husband just relaxed, you know, and we chill. So, but I really enjoy being in the hospital because I got so many visitors. I especially loved every single morning somebody comes and they take your food order for the day. That was my favorite part, because y'all know I like to eat, and I hadn't been able to eat jack crap, you know, for a long time because of my food aversion. And so, and just not to have to get up and worry about nothing. You know, somebody come, Mrs. Roper, what would you like for lunch? What would you like for breakfast? What would you like for dinner? And so it was just so nice. I'm just like, man, when I go home, I'm going to have to do things myself. And so that was the highlight of my stay. But overall, I had a really good birth experience. I mean, yeah, there were some parts of it that were uncomfortable, but that was, of course, anticipated. You know, it can't be perfect. You know what I'm saying? It has to be some drama here and there. You know, that's just how life is. But overall, in my opinion, it did not traumatize me. Now, I'm still recovering, which is tough. The recovery process is really, really tough. I can't even imagine having sex again, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to. But at this point, it's like, you know, whenever when we talk about it, I'm just like, no thanks. And we're not talking about 6 weeks, we're talking about like 8 weeks, you know? And so it's like I hurt more when he talks about it, and I'm just like, I don't want to talk about it no more. Because my husband is like changed, like he's fallen in love again. And so every time he sees me with her, he's just like, I just want to make love to you. And I'm just like, no. Hell to no. So yeah, so I know that's TMI, but hell, who cares? Like, we grown, we married, we grown folks, we supposed to be grown. So yeah. But overall, I had a good birthing experience. I'm not traumatized. I will be back, you know, the year after next, you know, with baby number 2, you know, because we were planning on our second baby after she turns a year, you know, because I'm 32 years old. I don't have the luxury of waiting 2 and 3 and 4 years in between children. Don't want to have any kids in my 40s, so I'm trying to knock it out. We want 2 more. So Viola, we want to give Viola either 2 brothers, 2 sisters, or a brother and a sister, so she'll have, you know, some folks to play with. But overall, I had a really decent birthing experience, and I was kind of glad. Part of me, even though I was sad that she was in the NICU, but I was able to recover and just be while she was away, because it would have been hard for me to have to take care of her in the same room as I was I was in a lot of pain. And so, you know, whenever I wanted to go downstairs, they called transport for me, and I was able to go down to the NICU 24/7 and sit with her and talk to her, and just, you know, I was always in the NICU. They always knew when I was coming, honey. They're like, oh, there go Miss Roper for Viola. And so Viola ended up being in the NICU for 9 days, and she was released on Wednesday or Thursday, and she ended up having to come home with this thing because her heart rate dropped down to 66, and y'all know it has to be above 70. And so her heart rate dropped to 66, so according to hospital policy, when infants' heart rate drop, they keep them an extra 5 days. Now, in order for me to take her home earlier, I would have to get a sleep apnea machine for her, and that's what she's hooked up to right now. I'm gonna show y'all. She has a sleep apnea machine that she's on 24/7. I can only take her off for an hour in a day, and it's just a machine that monitors her heart rate and her breathing. If she stops breathing, or the alarm will sound, and I can tend to her. And yeah, so she's gonna be on that for probably a couple more weeks until I see. And also Violet has a little heart murmur, so I have to go see the pediatric cardiologist to check her heart. They said that she'll grow out of it because it's really small, but she does have one. So I have to see a lung specialist for her and a pediatric cardio doctor. So, but overall, she's doing really well, drinking 4 ounces of milk, greedy. My boo drinks up her milk, honey. And so, she's eating really, really well. I'm not breastfeeding because I don't know what I'm doing. Didn't get a chance to breastfeed. And so, I've been expressing milk. I give her express breast milk, And then, of course, they were giving her formula, a special formula, premium formula, because my milk hadn't come in. It took a week for my milk to come in, and I don't have a huge supply, so I'm supplementing with formula, which is cool with me. Ain't no big thing. As long as she's eating, I'm good. And so I went to her newborn well visit yesterday, and she's up to 6 pounds 14 ounces, so she's getting up there. And she's in newborn diapers still, and all her clothes are literally falling off her little booty. But yeah, this is her. Say hello, everybody. And they love some Violet, honey. They just say she's just the prettiest thing. Y'all see my baby with them lips? Oh yeah, let me show y'all. Look at her hair. All this hair, honey. Yes. So I keep a hat on her head because we keep the room pretty cool. And so I want my baby to be nice and snuggled. So I keep a hat on her head. And plus when we go out, I can't stand to see people with newborns with nothing on their head, no socks and no hat on their head. It's like, hello. They're brand new to the world. Can't have them all out. So yeah. So that's pretty much it for my labor and delivery story. We're doing well. She wakes up every 2 hours at night. She sleeps all day long, and then wakes up every 2 hours at night time to eat. So I am tired, T-I-R-E-D, honey. I am tired, sleepy. I was in the pediatrician office like this, and I kept yawning, and I was telling the pediatrician, I was like, listen, you are not boring me. I am just exhausted. And she's like, oh, you're a new mommy, don't worry. She sleeps with her mouth open. That's how daddy sleeps, just like that. So she's sweet, and I'm glad she's here, because man, I was having a hard time. And so, but yeah, she's a sweet baby. And so, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them down below, and I will talk to you guys next time in my 2-week postpartum Mommy and Violet update. Alright. Say bye-bye, baby. Say bye-bye. I'm asleep, y'all. Leave me alone. Bye, y'all. I gotta get up and turn this camera off. Bye. Ugh.